Nation, to another installment of Raw B-Boy Get a Better Insight of these king and queens behind the scene. I'm your host, Cheno Royal, baby. I'm here with, what's your name, sir?
My name, if you haven't already known, is Nelson Edwin Robert Doolittle.
Oh, God. Mr. Nelson, how you doing today? How you feeling today?
A lot better than most of the other people out there, that's for sure.
Okay, hold on. Just because it's you, only because it's you, I had a specific surprise for you, and I told you before we even started this that I had to go get it, and I'm going to go get it right now.
Oh, well, I'm excited. Let's see it.
You know you're in the presence of a champion, too. I hope you know.
Oh, my
You
goodness.
already know what time it is. You already know what time it is.
Oh, my God.
Do you know what time? Do you know who you're messing with?
Oh, my gosh.
Look, we're on even playing fields now. I've went my whole life, and your boy went to the mountaintop, and now I'm here. You're looking at me, brother.
Well, I got news for you. You're lucky. We're in different locations right now because we were in the same spot. I beat that belt off of you, and there's just no way around it. You understand me?
You know what? This Sunday, I wish you were here. And you know what? You wish that it actually was next Sunday. That's when we would be actually there at the Thunderdome, which is exactly where I will be whooping you to the mountaintops. And then down below, you will be feeling exactly what I'm going to be bringing.
This Sunday, next Sunday, last Sunday, it doesn't matter what kind of Sunday. It could be any day of the week for that matters. Because quite frankly, when you get in the presence of me, Nelson Edwin Robert Doolittle the Fifth, you're messing with greatness. And if that is any kind of, I swear to me, if you ever get in my way, I will hurt you just like I've hurt anyone else. You understand me? Cheno, do you understand me?
Do you smell that? Do you smell that? You smell that? You smell that, Stone Cold?
You're gonna get me going on a tangent here. You're gonna get me going on a tangent here. Don't get me going.
No.
Don't.
The Rock knows what I'm smelling. He knows what I'm smelling.
They don't know what you're smelling. They don't know what you're smelling.
If you want your candy ass to get a big butt whooping this Sunday. Hey, buddy, I appreciate you for coming on the show, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir, brother. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, brother. How you been first of all? Let's dive in. Like, how's a normal day for you? How you been?
Oh, it's great, man. I'm just busy living life and, getting old, and that sucks. I hate that I'm almost 30, and, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what am I, like, I'm trying to do everything I possibly can to, like, make sure I'm, living life to the fullest. But, sometimes I just get a little, caught up in the pressure of everything and scared of, time.
It's like right around the corner too. It just seems like yesterday. I saw. For those that don't know, I've known this man since elementary school, bro.
Yeah.
Like where we used to. I went over to his place one time. We were doing old school WWE moves. I remember a particular move. He was like, "Wait, whoa! We're not doing that. We're not doing that." And I was like, "All right. That's why I'm the champ. I had to put it down." But yeah, man, we go way back. And I remember it was like, I wasn't even thinking about it. And I saw on Facebook, somebody was getting a 10-year anniversary for our graduation already. I'm like, bro, oh my God.
Dude, it's just like I said, like, I literally still think about it. I'm like, man, I still think about like high school, like, middle school, elementary school even. And I'm just like, dude, I got my own, kid now. And like, she's about to be in elementary. And I'm like, bro, like, what do I do?
Crazy, man.
Yeah, crazy. I still feel like a kid. Like, I feel like I should be the one getting to watch. I shouldn't be watching somebody else. But here we are.
And I had a mind-blowing moment. Like it was like a year or two ago, because my kid, when he first started kindergarten, I just remember pulling up and getting him from school, and I'm like, oh my God, how the tables have turned right now. And I'm like, I shouldn't be here right now. What is going on right now in my life?
I know. I need an adult, but I'm the adult, and I'm like, I can't do it.
Well, I gotta call somebody.
I know. I'm like, somebody help me here. But no, but you know what I mean? Like, like I said, luckily you got God on your side. I don't think anything's possible. I think any kind of adjustment can be made. It's just one of those deals where, like, I don't know how to, like, put this. I never thought I'd make it this far, I guess, in life. So it's just funny that, I'm like, I'm now the age, or I'm getting to that age, like, where like I remember my parents being. So like it's just cool that I don't know, like I get like my own kind of spin on it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
we'll see. Hopefully, I'll do good. I'm sure I'll make mistakes, but I said, Lord willing, I'll try to do the best I can.
Okay. Now, did you? This is just something between you and I. Did you want to go ahead and just go with Nelson, or did you want to go with
Oh, you can call me either.
either?
I was just trying to have fun.
Okay.
Yeah, my real name's Robbie. Yeah, I
Yeah, I was
always
just
like
trying
to
to
mess
make
around with
sure because I've had people come on. They're like, "Hey, don't you ever say my government." This almost seems like a real life promo cut, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, take it easy, my guy. Take it."
Listen, you're my brother, so I got your back. Yeah, no
Of
worries at
course,
all.
of course.
Yeah,
Now,
no worries at all.
Now, here's where we get on into it. Go ahead for the fans at home. Elaborate on who Nelson, the man Robbie, chosen is.
Well, I guess Nelson is pretty much just like a way more exaggerated version of myself. I would say, like to the millionth degree. Basically, I just go out there and I like to have fun. Usually, I'm a bad guy. I go out there and try to, ruins everybody's day. Matter of fact, at that last show at the Coliseum, I literally made some little kid cry. That made my day.
Did you?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I made a few kids cry, and one of them was my daughter. So
Dang.
that wasn't very good. I got a little bit of an ear ringing at home, but for that one. But ultimately, that is kind of my job. So I'm happy I'm able to ruin people's day, and then hopefully
Hell yeah.
like I said, they get some kind of experience out of that. So yeah, like I said, that's just more of a way for me to kind of express myself, and I try to be as funny as I possibly can. I try to I'm not afraid to be the butt of the joke. I'm not afraid to go out there and like I said, just be entertaining. I try to be entertaining. You know what I mean? It's up to the crowd to decide whether I am, worth watching or not. But I like to just go out there and joke around, goof around, and I like to make it so where like people can put down their phones and just relax and forget about all their problems. I can be all their problems. You know what I mean? For 15
Yeah.
20 minutes or so. And hopefully I can either make all the problems go away or make it linger. Like I'm here to stay. So
Now just like I said in the very beginning, there's a lot of questions that I've had because I've always wanted to dive into the independent scene. Always been a huge wrestling fan. If you haven't already told by my offers already, but I wanted to go ahead and say, where did all this start with you, man? Like, was it before even like we had our little wrestling match in the bedroom, or like when did all this start for you, man?
Well, man, like I said, like you said, like I've always been like into wrestling, and I've always liked it. I've always enjoyed it. I always thought it was fun. I always, I like fighting. I like, being entertaining. I like the showmanship of it all. So really, I got to a point in my life where, you remember we went to school with Drew Tranquil, from Carroll. I remember playing Madden one day. I was like, I forget which Madden it was or whatever, but I remember playing Madden one day. And I literally was scrolling through the rosters or whatever, and I saw him on the game, and I literally had a pause of life moment. I was like,
it's crazy.
I was like, what am I doing with my life? You know what I mean? Like, this guy we went to school with's on the video game that I grew up, wanting to, play my whole life. So, and beyond, so I just kind of got in a weird way, inspired to if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something right now. So, literally right then and there, I dropped the controller, literally started searching frantically for pro wrestling schools near me. Couldn't really find anything. So I'm sweating, but I was so determined at that point because I had just turned 23. So I was at the stage of my life where I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it right now or it's never. So, and I didn't want to live the rest of my life just looking back and regret.
Right.
So I literally, I did whatever I could to find pro wrestling independent, shows. And then I finally found one. And I called them and I was like, hey, I'm interested in getting into the industry. I'll do whatever I can to get my foot in the door, blah, blah, blah. And that's when I was put in contact with Congo Kong, who's one of the TNA legends. He fought Abyss and Monsters Ball. He's got a
hell yeah,
Jimmy, real popular following there. Anyway, he's a FortWayne local too.
Really?
Yeah. If you're interested in getting him on your show, I'd say he'd be a big one to get.
Yeah.
I'd get you in contact with him. I say
I 100% am eager because I am wearing an AJ Styles.
Oh yeah.
TNA Impact shirt. Shout out TNA.
So you already know.
yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorites, by the way. Yeah. So like I said, he's basically like my dad. I love him. I love him to death. He's my coach. You know what I mean? Like I said, he was the one that I was, like I said, put in contact with him. He has a school up in Bluffton. Basically, I had my tryout with him. Sucked horribly. Luckily, he was able to understand that, you know what I mean. I might have had like maybe a little bit of a learning curve when it came to like, in a wrestling ring, because I came from more of like a basketball, if you really want to call it that, like, you know what I mean, amateur basketball, kind of background, like more or less, like, so I'm long and lanky, so it's a little bit weird, running in the ring, and it can be a little awkward and hitting the ropes for sure because of how skinny I am and everything. Especially when I first started, I was even skinnier than now, believe it or not. And hitting those ropes, it'll kill your spine, and it just does some crazy stuff to you. But anyway, I was able to get connected with Congo Kong, and the rest is history.
Now, like, just kind of piggyback off of one thing you said, like, is hitting the ropes like super difficult? Because I've heard stories of like certain things that they're made out of, like nylon is like the WWE, I think, and then like I've heard some people use steel rope and some shit. Like,
all right. Do you want me just to give you just the whole shebang, bro?
Yeah, we just need to talk about it, bro. I'm gonna ask questions.
I got your bag. You and forgive me for rambling, forgive me for ranting. So that's kind of how I thought. So you know that. So
this is about you, bro. I'm just trying to get the inside scoop.
Sorry to the audience if you think I'm rambling. I apologize, but I'm gonna get some points. Anyway, dude, I'll never forget, bro. When I first just to put things in perspective, like I got into the ring, for my first day of tryouts or whatever, and like Congo Kong, he like literally told me, he's like, get in the ring, you know what I mean, blah blah, and I was like, all right, and he's like, all right, what do you think a bump is, like, where you take a fall on the mat or whatever, and I was like, well, I've seen Triple H do it, and all that stuff, and blah blah and all that, and he's like, okay, well, why don't you go ahead and show me what you think a bump is? And I'm like, all right. I'm like, great. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do exactly what I saw in the Tough Enough video, and I like literally went back as like hard as I could. And dude, I swear to God, like I don't know why I was expecting like a Tempur-Pedic mattress or something, but dude, it literally hit me like a bag of bricks.
Oh my God!
Like I like literally go down. I'm like, oh. And I'm literally like, all this like stuff starts flashing through my head. I'm like, did I really drive 2 hours get here? Did I really spend all this time, like blah blah blah, like everything's going through my head. I'm like, what am I thinking? And then I get up, I'm like, man, that hurt a lot more than I expected. And my coach just goes, yeah, welcome to pro wrestling. And I just like that moment, literally, it was just like, I don't know, I just shrugged my shoulders, like, well, I mean, this is what I signed up for, I guess, whatever. And I did a few more, and bro, like wrestling, dude, like I don't care what anyone says. There is nothing more painful, more like tough on your body than pro wrestling, dude. Like, I'll never forget, like the first time I got hit by a steel chair. Like I literally saw like laying on the ground, and all of a sudden this dude like picks up. We're in a match, and all of a sudden this dude like picks up a chair and hits me with it as hard as he can, and I'm like,
you still gotta take that, yeah.
I was like, this is real. I was like, I don't know why I thought, what I mean, something. I don't know why I thought for whatever it'd be different, but no, they're literally hitting each other with steel chairs.
Damn.
Do you not realize that?
Yeah.
No, and back in the day, they were even more messed up and even more crazy.
There's no regulations. People were just doing shit.
No, they would literally take it on the face. You watch like The Rock and Mankind and Ken Shamrock and those dudes. They would literally take a steel chair to the face. There's just no way. There's just no way around it, bro. There's like, do you want to do it to me? Like, I'll show. Like, I don't know how else to prove it to people. Yeah, I'm like, dude, this shit hurts like horribly.
And that's something that, like, I definitely wanted to get out there, too. Like, even though we all know it's scripted and we all know, like, what happens, I think it's just as real as people don't want to give it, like, its flowers. Like, because, like, people just don't want to understand how real it could actually get. Why are all these wrestlers having these severe injuries? It's not because people are just messing up every left and right. It has to be because something is there.
Listen, I got news for you, dude. Like, I had no idea until I got into the business. You know what I mean? Like, just how legit it is. And then, like, you look back at some of these older guys, and you just the amount of respect you have for, a lot of them is just like through the roof, just because, like, not only are they, good at what they do, but like, just how tough and the amount of pain they put their bodies through, just to entertain
Yeah.
people. In my opinion, there's something to be commended for that. So I feel so bad, but like, dude, everything hurts, bro. Like hitting the ropes hurt. That's what I'm saying. Like my spine. Like, I'm a little bit more spiny than other people. But like I would hit the ropes, and dude, like the ropes is like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a legit like just rope. You know what I mean? And others are just. And it doesn't matter whether it's rope or bungee or anything. They're all basically the same. They all feel pretty much the same. So basically based on how tight it is, that's how much it's going to tell the difference. And the rope and all that stuff can be different, but basically you hit that the first time, dude, my spine, bro. I remember like looking in the mirror like as much as I could, and I had my wife take pictures of me and stuff, and like dude, my spine was like bruised and like black and blue, like up and down, like where I was hitting the ropes and stuff, bro. Like I said, wrestling is not for the weak, dude. Like we had like practice days where like we literally sit there and like stand in front of each other and just smack the shit out of each other until like we couldn't couldn't handle it anymore. Like I'm talking like literally back and forth, slapping each other in the face. And I'm sitting there like, dude, like what are we doing? Like this is what we got to. This is my life. And now I like to pretend I'm tough enough to hold my own. But I guess that's for the audience to decide.
Like I remember I was watching, like obviously they've been pushing a lot of behind the scenes shit, and I even remember this one thing about like RVD even talking about the difference between ECW and WWE, and he was saying that like because he got more air in ECW because ECW like they had like steel ropes so he could balance a little bit better. Yeah. But then in WWE, like it was a little bit more loose. So then like he wouldn't give that much splash. So like obviously I was gonna wonder like how much they really hurt, especially as steel. Like I don't know how the fuck people be doing that shit. So
it's like I said, kind of like after a while, it's kind of like they all kind of feel the same. If that makes sense. Yeah. Like you're definitely gonna get a little bit more spring out of others than you would others, but after a while, like I said, they all kind of feel the same, and then you kind of just get used to it, and you're like, "Fuck it, it's nothing for me," So at least I like to pretend anyway.
What is your finisher, and what is the most devastating finisher you've had to take a bump from?
So my finisher is a diving double stomp off the top rope.
Okay.
Or I also like to hit a pile driver. I like to hit an old-fashioned pile driver. I think that's always fun. I like to break people's necks when I can.
Oh hell yeah, every day.
The worst finisher to probably take is probably either, I'm gonna say two different ones. I'm gonna say either something off the top rope from a big guy, because that's another thing, dude. Like there's no faking a dude, like a 300-pound dude, like literally jumping on you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying.
When he comes down, like, is his knees or elbows at least catching a little bit? Or is you taking all his weight?
If he were to come down full knees every time, you can watch it. There's no way. Because
you blow his shit out.
You blow your knees out, dude. Like, so we're literally taught to just fucking take it. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think people get it. Like, they don't realize, and you can believe me or not, I really don't care. Sign up for yourself and see if I'm lying.
Yeah.
You call me a liar. I challenge you to do that. I promise you, you'll be second guessing. I'm telling you, dude. Like I literally thought I knew everything. Going into wrestling, you don't know a clue. Especially when it comes to like psychology, everything, bro. Like I said, dude, wrestling's fun, but like I said, either it's not fun though when you're taking a top rope finisher move from like a big guy. Or I don't really like taking like power bombs because I can't really like see, where I'm, going. I pretty much just waiting until
Plus, I would think like you can't control your head because when you're snapping back, like your head has to be hitting the mat.
Oh, well, that's one of the reasons why I didn't really start. I waited until about like usually people get started like about 6 months in their training. Yeah. I was about like 9 months or so. I waited a few more extra months because like, dude, like I don't know if the audience can see it or whatever, but like I got like a long neck, like bobblehead,
Oh yeah.
I'm a herky jerky kind of dude. Anyway, every time I like hit the mat, like my neck would like whatever. So like we literally have to do like practices and exercises where like you're doing like chin to your, whatever, basically just trying to strengthen that muscle and the muscle memory for every time you go down, like your neck or your chin hits your neck, so you're not, hitting your shit.
Damn, man.
But like you see some of those dudes, they'll bash their head on that stuff, dude. It's no joke, dude. That's what I'm saying, because under that ring, like there's a mat, like, and I'm talking like a wrestling mat, like it's not like pillows and stuff like that. I wish. And then what makes everyone's like, well, what's that noise? It's spring. It's not a spring. It's the wood. The wood. It's like, those giant planks or whatever.
I was gonna say it looked like a 2x4 or like some random plywood type shit.
So the structure of the ring is like metal. So it's like metal, like the square, like, whatever, the outline of it. And then you put the plywood, like the planks, whatever you want to call them, into the frame or whatever. So it's like it's sitting in there. So then like it's holding it, and then you put the mat on, and then you put the sheet on, and then that's it.
Yeah.
But like, dude, like it hurts. It hurts like a bag of bricks, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like you would think it's like a mattress or it's like a, like whatever, like trampoline or whatever. It's not, dude. It hurts. That's what I'm saying.
You wrestled, right? Like you wrestled in school. Like, would you say that there's like a similar feeling, or like you think that this is like more like it hits harder?
Given on some of the wrestling mats that the high schools and middle schools, I'd almost rather wrestle on that.
Yeah.
Only difference is you're not suspended as much, so that might take out something, but they're just a little bit more. They're just like, if you haven't seen some of those wrestling matches in high school, they're just thick mats, and like the thicker the mat, like, you know what I mean, the easier the bump is going to be. So yeah, some of those I probably wouldn't mind, wrestling in some of those, but I'd also have to see. I'm also talking out my behind here, so don't let me get going too much.
Now, moving from the past into the present, how have you seen yourself grow from being that 23-year-old kid that's getting thrown around the ring by Mr. Kong himself, and then the guy who is Nelson Doolittle right now, right?
Well, man, I tell you what, bro, like I really do like owe everything to Congo Kong, man. Like that guy, like I said, I love him like a dad, like, you know what I mean? Like he's my coach, and he's the one that really saw and believed in me when a lot of other people wouldn't, you know what I mean? Because like the wrestling industry can be very
cliquey.
And like toxic in certain areas, you know what I mean? And and that could be the same for any industry, you know what I mean? It's just how nature of the beast, unfortunately.
100%.
However, like I said, I truly believe, like, I was blessed to be put in the situation that I was in, especially in, the time period that I was in with my life and the state of mind that I was in. I was like really wanting to do something big with my life, you know what I mean, while I still had the chance. And I feel like Congo Kong really did take that opportunity. Like he knew I wanted it, and he told me, he was like, listen, I can't give you the world, I can't promise you the world, but I'll give you all the tools to go out there and get the world yourself. And that's what he's done. And so, like I said, and because of that, I've been able to live my dream, dude. I'm literally traveling all over the country. I'm getting to now, now I'm even like, wrestling in our own backyard now.
Nice.
Like I said, I was just at the Coliseum, so that was, a dream come true for me. You know what I mean? Just getting to do this stuff that like I never thought, like in a million years, especially with my size and everything like that. I never thought this would ever be possible, but that's why I try to tell people, I'm like, listen, man, if you have a dream, even if it's something that other people may think it's like, dude, like, come on, you're an idiot, don't even remotely try it, dude. If you truly have a dream that's like, calling from the inside and it's like burning and eating you alive, go for it. Because
100%.
Because dude, you already know, bro, like how many people dude, you've known me for how I've always been a skinny, little kid, you know what I mean? So like, dude, there's not a whole lot of people that would ever say, like, matter of fact, there's probably nobody on earth that would tell me like, hey man, you should probably get into pro wrestling. That's
yeah, bro. You're a pro wrestler, bro.
Yeah, you got pro wrestling written all over you, bro. Like 100%. But just like I just knew that, like, one, like I had like a strong personality, and I wanted to express it, you know what I mean? And I felt like, I just want to, I want to be, I don't know, I wanted to be entertaining. I want to give back to the world. I want to, give an outlet to my craziness, if you may call it that, so I'm very blessed to be in the situation I am. Like I said, that 23-year-old kid, I think, would be very happy at the 29-year-old version of me now, almost 30. So like I said, I'm very blessed with all the opportunities I've been given, and I'm just trying to ride the wave, man. Like I said,
Yeah.
hopefully there's bigger things to come for me in the future. Only Lord knows that, what's to come. So I'm excited.
Now, with you being on the scene and everything for this long, I know
Yeah.
you have your fair share of stories with traveling and whatnot. And I think also a lot of people don't know with another aspect of behind the scene when it comes to wrestling is that there is so many like wrestlers, whether they're past their prime and they're just still trying to, get their share of the limelight. Maybe they're just trying to have fun. What's the highest name that you've seen so far? Like maybe like there was like an A-list wrestler, and then now they're like kind of just having fun going through like different like independent circuits. Like what's the highest wrestler that you've seen so far?
Well, that's kind of hard to decipher and determine because, like, with the industry, a lot of times, like, it's not necessarily like how it was like back in like the 80s or so. Like, you know what I mean? Like after they were done, they were pretty much washed away and never to be seen again. Nowadays, I do enjoy how like the WWE and TNA and AEW and a lot of these big promotions, I do enjoy how they will periodically bring in these older guys that, you know what I mean, like did have an impact on us as kids. We want to see them again. Like, you know what I mean? Like just because they're old doesn't mean they still can't entertain people,
Right.
And, so I'm a firm believer, man. Like, I used to think like, I was like, man, whatever. But like now that I'm older and I realize I'm like, hey man, as long as you're out there not like trying to, I don't know. And even then who am I to say anything? I just think that like, if you're out there and you can still entertain people, why not? I don't understand.
Right.
I don't understand why that would be a problem. So like I said, I just got done wrestling. I don't know if you're familiar with, so this is like way back in the day, like, Bobo Brazil. He was one of the very first ever. Forgive my I don't want to forgive my lack of knowledge here at the moment. I'm just on the spot, so forgive me on that. But he was one of the very first African American heavyweight champions, like world champions. Forgive me, and I might be butchering that with like a tag team championship or something like that. So forgive me on my knowledge there. But anyway, I'm close with his son, Bobo Brazil Jr., and he is actually a much older wrestler. I forget how old he is. I think he's in his 70s or so. But I just, I look at him as with great respect and great admiration. You know what I mean? Here's this guy, who's able to still put on a great show for the fans, and I'm just, I look at him and I just like, like I hope to God that when I get to a certain age and I'm still able to be entertaining and still do what I love, you know what I mean, and I've wrestled him, you know what I mean, he definitely can put a hurting on people still, even so don't let anything fool you, man. Like I said, it's a fun time. I've seen some guys, you know what I mean, that I grew up loving, and it's just great to see him again. And like I said, like one of the very first guys I ever met that was like real big was like the Boogeyman. And I had a real fun, interaction with him. So I'm happy to know him and have those moments with him. So it's fun to it's fun to look back and think about all the guys that I've met over the time. I'm like, dude, like, I grew up watching you on TV. He's like, yeah, well, here we are at TV, or here we are at dinner. You know what I mean? Like we're just making fun of each other. So
I've like thought about that like in like a different aspect since we're getting older, and I'm like, I've kind of had similar conversations where it's just like you'll have people that will I've had a couple people that have stopped me whether I'm like delivering and be like, oh my god, you're like Cheno from the show, and like I watch you and blah blah blah, and I don't know what to say. Like I really don't know what to say. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Like thanks, yeah. Like, catch me in the next one.
I just think it's so funny now because like you'll like I'll still fanboy sometimes, be like, oh my god, like it's you. It's like it's me. Like
well, I know, and you know what the worst part is about that? Like when I first got in, like I was real bad about doing that, but like we're not supposed to do that at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not supposed to, like, for example, if Rob Van Dam like came into, and I've been in the locker room with Rob Van Dam before, and like Carlito and like some like big name dudes and like all this stuff, and we're not allowed to freak out. Like It's not.
Well, yeah.
You're not like you gotta be super chill. You gotta be super, professional. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can't just sit there and be like, I grew up watching you. Blah blah. Like, like you can be, subtle and chill. You can pick your moments or whatever. But like, yeah, you're not allowed to really be well, I shouldn't say not allowed. It's just one of those deals where you know what I mean. Like, it's just, at least in my opinion, it's kind of frowned upon to like be a fangirl. You're supposed to be a colleague.
Right. When the show's over, like, is there ever like any moments of like, camaraderie where it's just like, yo, hey, good match. You want to go hang out at the Applebee's down the street, get a platter or something with the boys? Like,
oh yeah. Usually like after a show, especially like one that like, you're familiar with or whatever. Like they'll get done with the show and then everybody in the locker room's like, all right, going to IHOP or going to Applebee's or going to the bar or going to, wherever, who's down, and everybody's like, all right, I'll meet you there, and we'll get a big corner off half the freaking, diner, and,
hell yeah,
call it a day,
Hell yeah, man. What's the biggest venue you've done, and like how has the size or capacity of the rooms changed, like your mentality when addressing matches?
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest venue I probably ever did was what's that? Not the Kellogg Stadium. I can't remember what that stadium is up in. Is it Detroit? Forgive me, my memory's just off right now. But it's pretty much like on par with like the Coliseum, the FortWayne Memorial Coliseum, with like how big it is and all that stuff. Anyway, I remember being there and I just like was like looking up in the stands. I was like, dang, dude, this feels like the most that was the one where like RVD and Carlito were in the locker room,
right, and
stuff like that. I'm like just looking around, I'm like, dang, dude, it feels like about as legit as you can possibly be. You know what I mean? Like, this feels awesome, and it was a real awesome time for me to be in there.
Now, are the setups like and this isn't like a dig at like ROH or anything, but is a majority of like the shows kind of like the ROH setup where it's kind of like everything's on the floor and then you have you walk down, it's not like a big ramp, but then the ring's right there, like everything's like very close.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's like I'm on shows, I'm on playing shows, some that have ramps, some that don't. Yeah, for the most part, it's kind of like a Ring of Honor situation, kind of depending on the venue. Big venues like that are kind of hard to come by. So some people, sometimes it's just kind of a get or do what you can with what you got.
Yeah,
make the best out of it. And, you kind of let the wrestling, kind of speak for itself. And also, I sometimes like almost like that and enjoy it sometimes. Not every time, you know what I mean? But I also enjoy it too, just because it gives it a little bit more of like an ambiance or like more of a theme, you know what I mean? More of like I don't know. And that's just my opinion. People to each his own. But yeah, like I said, it all kind of depends on the venue and the show and, who's putting it on.
Okay. And then I got a random question for you. The random question I had is, if you got two choices, you could either A, be in WWE, but you can only be a manager. So like you're just managing somebody, or fully do what you're doing right now and then possibly have the chance to like make it like to the top of just the independent scene. What are you doing?
I'll be dead honest with you. I'd probably take the WWE as a manager.
Yeah.
I just think that like ultimately, with my size, I'm not Brock Lesnar, I'm not John Cena, unless I want to get on steroids. Which, look, if Vince McMahon or Triple H, if I go up to them and be like, all right, welcome to Sun, like, all right,
get your sign, slap him in, Doc. You got the shot.
Yeah, it's like doctor's gonna be waiting for you as soon as you sign. You know what I mean? I might just be like, okay, sign me up. You know what I mean?
All
whatever.
Right,
I'm not. I hate to be the sell the soul guy. I'm not gonna. There's certain things I wouldn't do, but I just for right now, I'm not. I don't know, and I could be dumb for that. I could be whatever for that. I don't know, and I do wrestle with that quite a bit. I'm like, I try to work out like every day as much as I possibly can. Been to a doctor about my weight, and he's like, basically, like, you're fighting, like, you're like ice skating uphill. You got to eat like 6 times, the amount of like a normal person, just based on my metabolism and all that stuff. Got to eat olive oil or drink olive oil, whatever the heck. Anyway, so I'm just trying to, do the best I can. So if I can get a manager on WWE, if I can just get on WWE, that'd be great. I'm not, and quite frankly, the less bumps I gotta take, the better.
I think you got a good mouthpiece. Like you're good for like the actual promo work, and I think like you could be able to like a Paul Heyman sort of role, which is pretty much what he's been good at. Is like you're good at like manipulating the crowd, moving them how you want them to move. Like you know, a good old fuck you goes a long way. Like,
yeah, big time. Basically, that's what I'm. That's honest to God. Like now that you mentioned, that's what I think I'm shooting for. Like I've never really said that out loud, but like I think that honestly is like what I am shooting for, because I don't know, like I just want to. I don't know. I feel like maybe that is, you're right. Like I said, like I think that is like what I'm best at. Like, you know, I'm good at like getting the crowd under control, and like, you know what I mean, I like to mess with them, and I feel like I'd be a great mouthpiece for someone that, you know, has a great look to him. You know, maybe just needs like a little bit of an edge as far as like a vocalness goes to him. You know, I feel like I can bring that. You know.
And some people might like, I mean, people are gonna bash you for everything, bro. Like you could be the best at like whatever. You could be the greatest of all time, like wrestler, and people are still fucking giving you shit, you know. And like, I mean, shit. Look at fucking John Cena, and like everything that he's been, like the fucking roller coaster of a career that he's had, and like finally, you know, and look how big he was, like when he was doing it consistently, and look at him now, like fucking looking old as fuck and like slimming down.
I know, it's hard to see.
Yeah, but it's just like, hey man, like if this is your lane, like keep staying in that lane. Some people might call it tacky, but then it's just like if you're hating, that means I'm doing something right, and then that means you're doing something right. So.
You know, I'd be a fool to think that, you know, like, obviously there's going to be people in my life and people that watch me that go, like, you know, dude, you're in the wrong field. What are you doing? You know, blah, blah, blah. But I truly think that, like, you know, I think, and especially in wrestling, like, you know, there's a spot for if you know your role, there's a spot for everybody. You know what I mean? I just think, like, a lot of people just don't know their role, and they try to be something that they're not. Or they try to, like, you know what I mean, and maybe people may misperceive me and think that that's maybe what I'm trying to do, but I'm not, dude. I'm literally, I know the deal, dude. I know what it is, and I'm trying to capitalize that as much as I possibly can. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to be fun, funny, and entertaining. That's literally it, you know.
And I think you got it, bro. I think you got it. Like I've seen some clips, you know, I would definitely like to see more of it. But like I think like even if you cut promos, like are they against like you like doing like shit outside to like push like market yourself even more?
Yeah,
I think
do whatever.
I was gonna say if you probably already do it or not, but it's like if you started cutting promos like on Facebook, Instagram, and like whatever, just like getting people riled up and then like keep pushing yourself in that scene, I think you can blow up as a mouthpiece, you know.
That's not a bad idea. I try to push out as much content as I possibly can, you know, being a dad and a working man at the same time. It sometimes gets a little lost in the shuffle, but you know, you got to keep pushing, dude. That's what also people don't realize too. Like, you know, you can get burnt out in this real easy if you're not willing to keep up. So that's why I try to warn people too. I'm like, hey man, it's a lot of extra stuff that goes into it. You know what I mean? It's not just, you know, beating people up on a Saturday.
Now, the best advice that I've really got is like, even though it's like it sounds like a cop out, it sounds like a cheesy answer. I talked to Chuck Surak back when I used to work at Sweetwater, and I had a meeting with him, and I like showed him like a bunch of stuff about my music and then the clothes and like everything that I do. And he said everything was great. He said everything is amazing. I love what you're doing. It just looks like the only person that's gonna stop you is you. So it's only you. So I would just say keep going. It's up to you, pretty much how far you go. So So, and that's the best advice that I could say is like, you know, it's, you know, you're gonna get burnt out, but it's never. We don't hear about the people that get burnt out and then they're probably the best fucking wrestlers, and then they're just like, oh yeah, well, you know, maybe it's my time, hang it up, boom, done. It's always about the wrestlers that literally got through the burnout, and then now they're actually on the platform, and now we're like, oh shit, you hear about so and so, you hear about fucking Nelson out there fucking flexes his muscles, bro. He doesn't look fit as fuck, but he's flexing his muscles. Like, oh, I'm crazy, Jim, but
yeah, I tell you what, man, it's you gotta be something. You gotta be crazy to get out there and do what I do, the size I am in my freaking underwear out there shaking my hips. So I try to give people a show as much as possible. But
Now,
honestly, dude, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just say it is honestly kind of cool too, like even being my size because like I'll get kids, you know what I mean? That like, dude, because like so people, dude, you can't. At the end of the day, like you know what I mean. If you do everything you can, like you can't help your body type. You know what I mean?
right.
Like you can't help your body type. And you know, I get little kids that come up to me that are like tall, skinny, lanky kids like myself, like I always been, and they'll come up to me like, hey, you know, I just want to let you know that like I see that you do that, and I think that's really cool. And you know, I have one kid that like he was inspired enough to like try out for his wrestling for his school wrestling team, just because he saw me in the wrestling, just because he saw me wrestling. I was just like, dang, dude, like that's really
Thank you.
cool. Like, well, like it's not even like well, I don't know. It's just nice that like I don't know, like you can be an example for kids that like you know what I mean. Like 'cause like you said, nobody thinks that like you know what I mean. Someone like me could be in wrestling, or someone that looks like me could be in wrestling. But if you do
Yeah.
things the right way, if you do things and confident, like I try to be, you know what I mean. That you can show kids that like, hey, even if you look a certain kind of way, if you do things, particularly like well, then you can succeed anywhere. You know, so
I
I'm trying
I
to be like
know
that.
that we're always going to be hard on ourselves. We're our own worst critic, own worst enemy. And, the best, what I could tell you about that is like the same sort of pressure that I have for myself about it is like, if that is you, bro, that is your niche, like the thing that maybe you're fighting the most. Like maybe that's the niche and you're fighting actually the stream that is going where you actually want to go. You just don't, maybe you can't see beyond the trees and the river's going beyond the trees and you're like, no, I don't want to go that way because like in my mind, it's going the wrong way. But in actuality, maybe it's going towards exactly where you want to go. And you just need to just take that chance to let it go. And, if you're already doing it and people are coming up to you, then that means that you have something there. I'll give a comparison. Like, I've been doing rap since like we were in high school, and here recently I just decided to take the leap of faith because I've grown up off rap and like metal and shit. So every time I'm delivering, I'm like listening to metal, bro. Like I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm in my feelings because fall's coming up, and I'm like, I hate my mom. I like close the door. Like, but it's just like, bro, that's just my mental. And then I took the chance and I did a performance at Carl's, like a couple weeks ago, and just kind of reinventing myself. And that was the performance to do it at, because it was like a hip hop metal collab show, and I got the biggest pop, the biggest bang, the most love I've gotten from people at any one of my shows, telling me that, oh my God, I was the best performance of the night. I inspired them. And I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to help my drummer get off the stage, bro. had the owner be like, bro, that's how you fucking do it. I'm like, thanks, man. Like overload right now. But maybe that's just your thing, bro. Maybe that's just who you are. That's what you're meant to be. And I'm here for it too, bro. Keep doing what you're doing, man. For real.
Well, I appreciate it, bro. I'll never forget, like, when I first had my first show, dude, like, everybody was like, my wife was like, yeah, I was a little worried, with everything. And then I, saw you perform, and I was just like, yep, this is where you belong. And I was just like, yeah, it was funny. So I'm real blessed to, like I said, be in the situation I'm in. And like I said, and the fact that, you're doing what you're doing, I'm just like, dude, what a crazy small world, and what an awesome life we get to live. You know what I mean? Like I said, I truly believe that God's got a plan for us, and I think that it's been awesome so far.
We're gonna get there, man. Maybe one of these times, let me know, chat. Well, let me know down in the comments if I need to lace up my boots and get in the ring with this guy to show this punk how it's actually supposed to be done. Don't let this shirt fool you. Don't let all this stuff fool you. These trinkets. I can still lace them up with the greats, and I will do this all day, every day.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Hulk maybe not here, but I'm still running wild. I'm still running wild out here. But hey, man, I wanted to go ahead and say thank you for giving me the time to show up on here and, just chopping it up. Two guys, two boys from way back in the day, catching up. Love seeing everything that you're doing. But I only got one more question for them, folks. One more question before we get up on out of here. Where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? What is the overall end game of Mr. Nelson?
the overall end game, I used to say it was WWE, and that still is. I was trying to make it on, TV in general, and I've definitely had some big moments, and I keep looking forward to them. But honestly, the more I think about it, man, like I really do I just want to keep, trying to entertain people as much as I can. Every show I'm on, I'm blessed to have, and I'm busy, and that's a good thing. So in 5 years, if I can still be, putting on a show for people, like a genuine show for people, and they get genuine reactions and genuine entertainment, I'll be as happy as I could possibly be, man. I'm enjoying my family life, man. So everything's just going, I think, the way God has it planned for me. And big things happen. Awesome. If things stay the way they are, fantastic. I'm enjoying the ride, and I can be more blessed. So I'm like I said, I'm really, really thankful. I'm just gonna keep on keeping on, and like I said, whatever happens, happens.
Love seeing it, man. Love seeing the growth, buddy. Keep doing your thing. Like I said before, you definitely deserve your flowers. I know, like, you got a long way to go, but favorite quote, I'll give you a quote. Favorite quote, and I've said it before. I know, I get it. I've said it before, but Mac Miller, like, people usually quit because of the rest of they only look at the mountaintop. They never look at how far they've already came on the mountain. So it's okay to acknowledge that you have a long way to go, but sometimes you need to sit down and actually appreciate for how much you've actually climbed. And hey, man, I appreciate how much have you climbed, bro. It's a hell of a climb.
Yeah,
keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, you put it perfectly, bro. And it sounds like you're doing the same thing, brother. Like I said, I couldn't be happier for us both, man. Like I said, from when we came a long way from a couple of little kids to living our dream. You know what I mean? Doing what we're doing now. So, if there's anyone out there that can be inspired, by two punk little kids that grew up to do at least something, here we are. We're
right here, bro. Hey, stay tuned, little Jimmy. Little Jimmy, I got you, little Jimmy. But hey, man, like I said, I appreciate you. Go ahead, shout out any place we can find you. I will have it in the description below.
Yeah.
Here, but go ahead, shout that out real quick.
Yeah, you can find me on pretty much every social media sites. I'm on the Facebook on Nelson Edwin Robert Doolittle the Fifth. I'm not a nerd. I should have told your audience that before we did anything. I'm not a nerd.
You got to get it. You got to get the record straight. You got to do what you got to do.
It just happened to spell out Nelson Edwin Robert Doolittle the Fifth. So don't worry about that. Anyway, I'm on there. I'm on Twitter X, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You can find me at NERD 5th as a 5th. Or Nelson Edwin Robert Doolittle the 5th. You can find me anywhere on there, and I'm your man. Make sure you cheer for me.
Buddy. Hell yeah, buddy. But definitely, Chad already knows, but we're gonna have you back on the show, man. Whether it's a month, a couple months, a year down the line, we always tap in because you're jumped into the Royal gang now. You're part of the Royal fam now, even though you've always been. But we finally got you on the show, and we're just gonna keep checking in on you periodically and seeing how the growth is looking, man.
That sounds great, brother.
Yeah, bro, definitely got to make sure, everything's straight, everything's good. Sometimes we all need a check-in. That's why it's called a check-in, baby. That's all I'm saying. But like I said, I appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. But until next time, stay royal out there. Peace. Hey, I definitely appreciate y'all checking out this here video. Make sure you check out any of the new and old content. The links will be right above me. And make sure y'all stay royal out there. Peace.